New Mexico's governor has ordered the suspension of laws allowing the open and concealed carrying of guns in Albuquerque. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has declared gun violence and drug abuse a public health emergency after a string of recent deadly shootings, some involving children. Her emergency order temporarily bans the carrying of guns on public property, and it's effective immediately. Grisham cited the recent shooting deaths of 3 children as well as 2 mass shootings in May. Some in law enforcement and elected officials say the order goes too far.
There are literally too many people to arrest.
There's literally too many people to arrest. Well, maybe if you shut down the southern border, there's too many people to arrest, so why not just get invaded by millions on a regular basis?
Well,
this would allow us,
if someone's got a concealed carry permit in Albuquerque walking down a public street, they're not going to get arrested.
I can make the point that they should be. And this is the point. I'm willing to do anything and everything within a shred of evidence-based effort.
She's willing to betray her constituents for her gains, to move her agenda along. That's what she's willing to do. Because if you are a legal concealed carry citizen of New Mexico, which is an open carry state, by the way. So if you have the documentation and you are a legal concealed carry or open carry gun owner, well, she's ready to circumvent your Second Amendment right to carry your firearm and to protect yourself, your family, your property, your home. They tell you out loud all the time,
Because if you're not horrified that on any street corner in too many cities in New Mexico, there is someone with a gun sticking out of their waist or their belt.
And if they are a law-abiding citizen of New Mexico that has legally purchased their firearm and have it properly holstered and secured in their gun holster on their utility belt, there's no problem. There's no issue. What are they standing there with it tucked in their pants like if it's Boys in the Hood? The movie, by the way. No, that's not what it is. Don't confuse the two. Don't try to confuse your constituents. People that commit gun crimes are illegally obtaining these firearms. So why do you want to penalize law-abiding citizens who are trying to protect themselves from that very same thing? You allow the criminals to run wild. You refuse to want to prosecute them when they do commit these crimes. You refuse to want to hold and detain them. So when you allow people to commit crime with impunity, they will so, consequence-free and guilt-free. Because you allow it. You designed it that way. And then you pretend that you want to do something about it. But the only solution that you have is to forego our constitutional rights every time. It's like I've been saying, it's all about, shut your mouth, take your guns, and take your money. Unbelievable.
And I'll tell you, if you're a young person, you're not allowed to have a handgun.
Well, it's a crime already.
I got it, but we won't be able to arrest all of them. So imagine, just in a perfect world, if this was upheld, it gives all of these police officers the ability to focus on the real criminals.
Last follow-up.
Yeah.
If you truly want to help law enforcement fend off crime, why don't you just make stricter laws against actual crime, as opposed to coming after the constitutional rights of your law-abiding citizens who have the right to bear their arms? Because that isn't what you truly desire to do. What you want to do is make the population, make the public helpless and submissive. So when tyrants like Governor Hochul here in New York want to utilize law enforcement to kick down our doors and remove us because we have the sniffles, they're within all their legal rights to do so. Because we allow people like you to try and circumvent our Second Amendment rights, our constitutional rights. Just like New York has enveloped our Second Amendment rights in all this red tape that makes it nearly impossible for anybody in New York City to obtain a legal firearm. But you're going to try to say that you want to do this, to help law enforcement?
But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for.
With one exception. If there is an emergency, and I've declared an emergency, on what grounds you've declared an emergency? Because you refuse to uphold the law in your state, and criminals have run rampant, as they do in California, as they do in Chicago, as they do in Detroit, as they do in New York? So wait a minute, so what? You declare an emergency when you created the problem? So you declare an emergency so you choose to use the powers at your disposal to manipulate the law in your favor so that you can try and circumvent the Constitution and take our rights away? No, sirree, Bob. She told you out loud, and she's going to say it again. Not even her oath is absolute, which means her word is not absolute. She doesn't stand by her own word. She took that oath to promise to you, to her constituents, to the people of New Mexico, okay? That she was going to do right by them who voted her in. She's not going to stand to her word. She doesn't care. The Constitution is our governing document. And if she's not going to uphold and honor it, she needs to get out of the fucking office. She is a traitor. That is treason. She needs to be impeached, and she should be. I don't even know. I don't even know why she's still there, if she's still there. It's unbelievable. And like I said, they say it out loud all the time. All the time. We just have to listen. That's all.
Temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute.